Okay, so I sent you your picture that had the grid on it, and I've instructed you to trace your soft cut, trace it, and then break that up into even squares. That's just like the grid that I gave you. And then you're going to look at your grid and redraw that, what you see in your picture, square by square.
Rectangles,
Now,
not
if you were
squares.
lucky enough to be able to have a printer and you printed it out, then you can just draw right on your picture with your ebony pencil and then transfer it. But if you were, and then you could just outline with your ebony pencil the shapes. So think of it as shapes. You don't have to do every little detail. You could simplify it by just going like this, and you want to do it by the different values. So there's one shape, and then we could just do this whole thing right here and say this is a shape. So that's a shape, and then you're going to transfer that. Now I wanted to do it this way because this is what you had to do. So I drew this based on this. See, I put the grid on my picture that I had printed out. And then I redrew it here, which is what you're going to be doing. Draw it with a pencil first. That way if you have to erase and kind of redo it, you can. Then once you have it, then I want you to go over it with the ebony pencil, making it really dark so that you can transfer it. Okay, so there, you don't have to outline the lines, of course, and you don't have to outline the edge because we already have the edge. So now that you've got that, you might want to tear it out of your sketchbook so that you just have it, so it'll be easier. Okay, here's the hardest part. The hardest part is lining this up to where you can see it. I guess one of the things you can do is maybe fold it on that line. So I'm going to fold it on the lines. That might make it easier to line it up because you want to line it up just right. And then you're going to put it on there. There. Don't let it move. And now go over it with something. If you've got a coin, a pen, a penny, or if you've got a fingernail, you can do it with your fingernail. If you've got a penny or a quarter or a nickel or something like that, or you could, if you want to, this makes it harder. Well, I'm going to use this pencil. It doesn't have a tip on it. I'm going to rub over it, trying to get those pencil marks to show up. And that ebony pencil transfers better. That's why we do an ebony pencil and not a regular pencil. Regular pencil won't transfer as well. And if you were able to print your picture, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to outline it with the ebony pencil right on your picture and then transfer it this same way. Kind of look at it. I kind of messed up. I moved it. So I've got two shadows. So Don't do what I did. All right, I've got it, kind of got a shadow, but I'm gonna look at it. So I'm gonna look at this, I'm gonna look at this, and then I'm gonna, now you're gonna take your Sharpie and go over those lines, because those lines aren't real clear. So you're gonna go over those lines with your Sharpie. And don't get frustrated if you messed up. Just make sure you're looking. So some of these areas that are unclear, I've got that picture right here, and I'm looking at it too. Even though it's mirror image, it's still, I can still figure it out. All right, so there. So now that I've got that, I want to figure out what I'm gonna carve out. What I'm gonna do now is look at the picture, look at my actual picture. So you're gonna look at the picture on the screen, and what you're gonna do is all the areas that are white, or the very lightest areas, the very, very lightest areas, that's what you're going to carve out first. So I'm going to carve all this out. I'm going to go to color it in, because I'm going to carve this out. I'm going to carve this little dot out, this little dot out, and I'm going to carve all of this out. I'm going to carve all this out. And I'm going to carve this out, and this out, and this out. Those are those lightest areas, so I'm going to carve those out. And I'm going to go ahead and carve this out. I'm making a judgment here. I'm going to carve this out. So that's all I'm going to carve out right now. That's it. I'm just going to carve those out. And remember what I said about being careful not to cut yourself. So you're actually always supposed to go away. This one's kind of big. I may want to get a smaller one. That one. I'm going to leave this one out, because I know I'm going to use it for that big area up there. In fact, I'll do that big areas right now, since I've got this one in here. Now remember, you don't have to dig too deep. Just lower than the surface. All right, now I'm going to get that smaller one. And And remember, what you've carved out will not have ink on it. Fix this part down here, and then I'm done with this carving. And then I've got to print it. Okay, now I'm ready to do my first print. So we'll see what it looks like.